Breaking news, the UK could now confiscate your child. This is shocking. In fact, it's chilling. It's all to do with the digital ID. I said you should resist the digital ID. This is communism at best. And the UK have just announced, and I shall quote, the UK announces plans to require all newborn babies to be issued with a digital ID, but it gets worse. Parents who refuse, i.e. your freedom, could face jail time and even confiscation of their child by the state. I don't even know what to say. This is 1984. This is worse than communism. I said that the digital ID was the start of the end of your freedom. And unless we all resist this, your freedom is gone. I recommend you share this. This is shocking. And I, for one, resist a digital ID. You will not confiscate my child. Breaking news, the UK could...
So what did I tell you about digital ID? What did I tell you about the times that we're living in? Even what we've seen, what happened in Venezuela, there's so many details I can get into, but understand there's always layers as to things that are going on, right? There's always a deeper thing that is going on. I'm going to get into that into another video, but understand we are moving towards a one world government. This is what the plan has been for decades at this point. All right. And now the idea that they would take the state in the UK, or they are now saying that they will take your child. Digital ID is global, guys, and it's here as well. It's rolling out. They've been very quiet about it. All this stuff that's going on in the news right now, everyone is distracted from this. But what do I keep telling you? Regardless of everything else that's going on, this is the most important thing. So whatever you're seeing happen in other countries, we are under that same plan, guys. There is no difference. There is no protection because we're in the US. Absolutely not. Let me give you some more updates. So it says now Ireland plans digital ID checks for social media access. We already know in the UK that if you do not have the digital ID, you cannot work and you cannot get any government services or benefits or even go to the doctor, essentially. It's fact. And now, if you don't get one for your child, the state, CPS here in the US, the equivalent, will take your child. This is absolutely insane. I've shown you how they also plan to use digital ID from the day of your child's birth to track their vaccines, to make sure that they are getting their vaccines. And if you are not in compliance, do you think as well that perhaps they will also want to take your child for that? So it says Communications Minister Patrick O'Donovan announced 2026 legislation mandating age checks through the MyGov ID digital wallet for platforms like Facebook and Instagram, with a pilot starting early next year to block harmful content. The plan aligns with the EU's whatever rules and aims to protect children, whom O'Donovan calls the top priority over other rights. Digital rights expert TJ McIntyre labels it illegal and intrusive, warning of government tracking and exclusion of non-smartphone users, while supporters highlight curbing anonymous abuse. What is crazy about this, guys? I told you, okay? Lindsey Graham put this out here, and I told you about that. There are nearly 20 bills in Congress right now, right, that are sitting, that they are bipartisan bills that are going to get passed that effectively end freedom of speech. A lot of them are tied to child safety, Section 230, which will make social media and any platform, even internet, domain servers, okay, where you host your website, anything like that, that they will be responsible for the content that you put out there. That is effectively going to wipe out a lot of people's accounts. They are going to be held liable for anything that you put on social media. So that's in Section 230 prevents that now, but they want to repeal that. But on top of that, there's all these child safety laws here in the US that they're trying to roll out that will censor your speech. And then a lot of them as well are tied to the same things we're seeing here, the same things that passed in Australia and several other countries, where in order to access social media and then the internet as a whole, You need a digital ID because that's to protect children, to make sure it's not a child logging in to that account. That is legislation here. Lindsey Graham said by February, they want to have this wrapped up and voted on. So this will become the law of the land in the US. Again, what do I always tell you? You can't just look at what's happened here. You got to look globally, but you got to look at the past. You got to look at the present and what they're saying for the future. And every single administration has built up to this point. This isn't just the left or the right, guys. They're all coming together to do this. There have been cries for this on both sides. And again, these bills are bipartisan. So there's really no one to blame or to turn to and say that, oh, they're doing this or this person's doing that. No, guys, it's all under the same thing. Now, let me show you this. Oh, this is the same thing happening in France. So now France has jumped into the fray with Macron, which if you don't know, 10 people were just prosecuted and I guess found guilty for speaking about Macron and his wife and being trans, and then also for criticizing their age gap. Allegedly, they met when he was a child. She was the teacher. I mean, there's a lot of layers to it, but guys, we're seeing some crazy stuff, right? People are getting arrested for social media posts all around the world in Western countries. So this says days after Australia began enforcing a new law requiring users to upload their ID to use a search engine, Macron is now pushing for similar restrictions to protect kids from social media. All these governments is suddenly are just so worried about children. Really? Okay. Hey, I've seen this one before. First, it's for the children, then it's for everyone. So he wants to ban people from under 15 from using social media by September of 2026, this year, by this September. Is this wild? Is this wild? But this all ties to the WEF and the 2030 agenda, which we are part of. I want you to listen to this. I want you to listen to This is Klaus Schwab, Rothschild's top advisor for the World Economic Forum, Dr. Yuval Noah Harari, and he's discussing hacking into the very fabric of our electromagnetic DNA and consciousness to control us. Guys, it's wild. It's wild.
More and more sophisticated surveillance regimes throughout the world, not just by authoritarian regimes, but also by democratic governments. The US, for example, is building a global surveillance system, while my home country of Israel is trying to build a total surveillance regime in the West Bank. But control of data might enable human elites to do something even more radical than just build digital dictatorships. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Because once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it. And if indeed we succeed in hacking and engineering life, this will be not just the greatest revolution in the history of humanity. This will be the greatest revolution in biology since the very beginning of life 4 billion years ago. For 4 billion years, nothing fundamental changed in the basic rules of the game of life. All of life, for 4 billion years, dinosaurs, amoebas, tomatoes, humans, all of life was subject to the laws of natural selection and to the laws of organic biochemistry. But this is now about to change.
There is no 4 billion years, guys. That's a bunch of, they lie. They lie about all of that. We know that is not our true history, but understand what he's saying. I mean, saying it out in the open, and that's going to tie into something about Elon Musk I'm going to show you in a minute, but I just want to continue with this guy. Listen to this. Listen to this, okay? Because that ties into digital ID, what he just said, but then listen to this directly.
Very soon people will walk around with biometric sensors on or even inside their bodies and will allow Google or Facebook or the Chinese government or whoever to constantly monitor what's happening inside my body. The whole idea that humans have, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. We have the technology to hack human beings on a massive scale. New surveillance technologies that are now deployed just to deal with this coronavirus outbreak. When it's over, some governments may say, yes, but there is a second wave of corona coming, so we have to be prepared. And there is Ebola, and there is also regular flu. Why not protect people against that too with this new surveillance system? So the tendency would be to prolong it indefinitely. Also, it's the moment when surveillance goes really under the skin. Governments are now not just interested in where we go and who we meet, but even in what's happening inside our bodies.
Is this insane? When I tell you we are in the last days, I don't care. Everything that's happening in the world right now, everywhere, it is all matching up with biblical prophecy. And I'm telling you now, we are in the last days. I mean, it lines up perfectly. Guys, I've showed you not just with Neuralink, which a lot of people think that that's a beast system. I actually don't think it is. I've told you and I've shown you the technology that Bill Gates has unveiled where it's like a patch you put on your skin for a few minutes and then it inserts quantum dots in a QR code under your skin permanently so that they can track and surveil you. It doesn't change your thought. Like they can't control your mind, but that is the other step with the Neuralink. But they now can do that and you can place it on the forehead or your hand. Guys, we are here. So all of the world events, all of the things that's happening with Venezuela, Greenland, Iran, Colombia, all of it is converging, guys, for a reason. This is all happening while digital ID and all of these, they're bioengineering the food. And I told you that you're going to have a social credit score and your carbon footprint and packaging on food is going to tell you what your allowance is that day. It's going to show like, okay, this takes 7% of your allowance for that day of what you're allowed to eat. They're bioengineering mosquitoes and ticks that make you allergic to meat and certain food. People are dying from it. We have the super flu outbreak. They said we're going to need multiple vaccines for the different pandemics that are going to be coming out. Guys, it is nonstop. And then him talking about this idea that we have a soul, that we have a spirit. He's saying that's not true, that the government essentially will be your soul and spirit. They will know what's going on inside of you like God. How much more clear do they need to be for people to wake up and see what is happening right before our eyes? And it is happening at lightning speed. So look here, it says Neuralink will start high volume production of brain-computer interface devices and move to a streamlined, almost entirely automated surgical procedure in 2026. Device threads will go through the dura without the need to remove it. This is a big deal. This is just what Elon Musk posted. When did he post this? This was on New Year's Eve, but a lot of people missed it.
Elon Musk says brain chips are going mainstream in 2026. Yes, actual chips implanted in human brains. Musk just announced that Neuralink plans to begin high-volume production of its brain-computer interface this year, using what he calls an almost entirely automated brain surgery. Automated brain surgery. This device is a coin-sized chip implanted under your skull, with over 1,000 electrodes reading your brain signals and sending them straight to a computer. Right now, it's marketed for people with paralysis, and some patients can already browse the internet, play video games, post online, and control devices using only their thoughts. That part sounds incredible, but here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. Neuralink's first attempt at human trials was rejected by the FDA over safety concerns. They only got approval after making changes. And even then, early implants had problems with electrodes pulling out of brain tissue. Musk says they've fixed that now. And his long-term goal? He says the point is to create a symbiosis between humans and AI, and to give people superpowers. So let's be clear, this is about putting hardware in human brains at scale, with automation, mass production, and one of the most powerful tech billionaires on Earth steering the future.
Couple different steps, but first we have a surgeon, human neurosurgeon, which hopefully the robot will do this portion of it as well. But at the moment, we have a human neurosurgeon that exposes the brain. So they drill a 25 millimeter hole in the skull and then expose the brain. And then the robot has this tiny needle. It's about the size of red blood cells, so really, really tiny, thinner than a human hair, inside this cannula. And this cannula is actuated by precision motors on the robot to engage with this thread loop to grasp it. And then you insert it into the brain 128 times. There's a total of 8 electrodes per thread, so total of 1,000 channels. And this is done while avoiding vasculature. And then once all the threads are inserted, implant basically replaces this hole, and then you put the skin flap over, everything is invisible, and you become a cyborg.
So when they talked about, the WEF talks about how the government is going to surveil your body, how they're going to, you don't have a soul and spirit, that, and it's not God. I mean, they've said so many things, guys. It's insane, the things that different people have said. But understand, this is how they want to do that. Remember, he said at first that they will be able to take over. They'll be able to take over your thoughts. I've played videos on how they said they can put fake memories into your mind. Elon Musk has talked about how we need to have basically singularity. And he just posted a tweet that says we've achieved singularity now. And that came out right after he actually came out, like, what, 2 days ago? He said this. And now we know this is after he's saying they now have an automated ability to put in a lot more chips in people because it's going to be done by a robot. They no longer are going to need a human surgeon. And they also says that it needs to get to a place that that by 2030, okay, Elon Musk, as well as the CEO of Nokia, have said that smartphones will be gone, that everything will come through the implantable in your brain, that you will no longer have apps. You won't need to search the internet. You really won't need computers, anything. It's going to all just be in your mind. And that sounds like convenience, but this guy is also talking, the other guys, they've all talking about this is how the government is going to surveil, know what's happening inside your head. We know what Peter Thiel, and they've talked about thought crime and pre-crime. Guys, this is all happening at once. Well, and not many people are talking about this. Yes, we're talking about all these other things that are happening around the world that are important, but understand each of these are chess pieces that are just surrounding us right now. Okay. And if you don't pay attention to this, guys, this is rolling out right before our eyes. I think along with this being scary, the idea, if the UK of all places, I haven't heard of any other country doing this. I got to check if China's doing this, but for the UK to say they're going to confiscate your child if you don't get digital ID. And then what's the next layer? If you don't get the implant in your brain so they can know your thoughts, so they can track you everywhere, so you don't have autonomy anymore, well, can they confiscate your child? Guys, we are in dark times. We're in the end times. And I'm telling you now, Jesus Christ is returning. Everything is lining up. I have some third temple updates in Jerusalem, it's just wild. I have never seen it in the history of the world, and it's unprecedented. And everyone who's been paying attention to this stuff, they're saying the same thing. Everything is unfolding, even with all the wars and all the strategic moves that are being made, guys. So keep your eyes and ears open. Keep up your hope, because we as believers do not have to worry about these things. God says that he will not leave us to suffer this wrath, that there is protection. Okay. And so if you guys don't know, I believe in the pre-tribulation rapture. I have outlined why I know this to be true. If you want to get an actual someone who walks you through exactly about pre-tribulation rapture, look up Ashley Hayes here on YouTube. She has an amazing video she just did, I want to say like 2 or 3 videos ago, taking you through scripture that shows exactly that there is pre-tribulation rapture. We will not be left here to suffer God's judgment. God has never done that to his people, okay? That we will have to suffer judgment. That is not persecution, the end times. If you don't get this chip in your brain, or if you don't get the digital ID, they're going to confiscate your children. That is not persecution, guys. All right. Well, it could be persecution, right? But when we talk about the end times and tribulation, It is only mentioned once, persecution, and it's talking about this demonic being in the sky. And depending on the translation, if in the Greek translation, it could actually just mean pursued. But there is nothing about that in the end times that we would have to go through this. God specifically says that he will keep us from suffering this wrath. But you must believe in him. You must believe in Jesus Christ. So I want to give you guys that good news. We are going home soon. We will not have to suffer in this world anymore. But those who do not believe in him, this is your future. This will be your future, and much worse. I've told you about giant locusts who will feed on your body and you cannot die. These are demonic beings that have actually been depicted in all different types of civilizations, ancient civilizations, where they have a human face and lion's teeth. They have a lion's body and they have wings, and it has been foretold. And right now, you may not believe in this, but our governments do. They have said as much, that they are creating God with this, that we don't have a spirit and a soul. Peter Thiel is obsessed with the Antichrist. They're obsessed. They're building the third temple so that he can sit in it. All of this is unfolding at the same time, as well as there are signs and wonders in the skies and on earth. Guys, I specifically have had some things that have happened recently, and I'm in shock, and God opened my eyes, and I'm starting to see videos and other people and documented, and I'm going to talk about it in a live stream. I'm not ready yet because I'm still trying to get a handle on it. But it says that the veil will be thinned, right, between the spirit world and the natural world, and we'll start to see things will be more blatant. Even governments will be more blatant, right? Even what happened in Venezuela, it shocked the world, but it was a blatant thing that no one expected or could believe what happened. But we're seeing it across the board, but it's all for a purpose, and it's supposed to happen this way, all right? But do not fear, okay? Do not fear. If you are a believer, you will not be left to have to do this. This is not what God has planned for us. So with that, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, check out Ashley Hayes' video on YouTube, and I will see you guys on the next one.